A very good morning to you from BBC Two as we prepare to bring you coverage of the most important event in the Crown Green bowling calendar, the Waterloo. Waiting to set the scene for us in Blackpool is Richard Duckenfield.
Arena in Crown Green bowling, the spiritual home of the sport and traditional scene of the sport's biggest competition. Good morning and welcome to the Waterloo Hotel in Blackpool. This year for our extended coverage of the Waterloo Handicap. We'll be here right through until the final on Wednesday afternoon. The Waterloo, of course, is as old as the century itself. Well, nearly so. It started in 1907, and perhaps more than ever before, it's the competition that any bowler worth his salt would give his IT to win. One man who's been particularly successful is Brian Duncan. He was in the final last year, twice champion. He was bidding to make it 2 in a row, his 3rd in all.
Duncan looking for one. Good lead. Oh, good lead that. Again, a difficult mark. Down the hill. To be stopping after stops in the bottom, nearly in the ditch, just staggering along, and off it goes. Duncan now just poised, waiting for the accolade. The first man ever to win this title 3 times. Lie's game. The young man from Holmes Chapel in Cheshire has astounded everybody here with his wonderful play. Playing out. Oh, just missed and gone through the gap. And Brian Duncan has weighed in to win the Waterloo for the 3rd time, beating Robert Eaton from Holmes Chapel in Cheshire. 21-11.
Well, you will be seeing Bob Eaton again this year, but sad to say you won't be seeing Brian Duncan, because perhaps in the way of all great champions, he went out in the first round of this year's competition. But 2 men you will be seeing with me, keeping me company, though not on the green, Mike Leach and Noel Burrows. Mike, when I arrived in Blackpool this morning, it was in the teeth of a howling gale, and it was absolutely pouring with rain. It's brightened up rather a lot since then, hasn't it?
Yeah, the sun's peeping through now, and it's looking like it might be a very nice day for bowling.
What has it done to the green, do you think? Because there's been rather a lot of rain recently.
Well, I saw the green this morning, and it's pretty dry. It's not picking up a lot of grass on it, so it won't be unpleasant playing.
Good conditions for bowling?
Good conditions for bowling, so long as the wind doesn't get up, yes.
Noel, would you like to be out there yourself?
I certainly would, yes. I made a somewhat ignominious retreat from the competition a couple of weeks ago.
You did better than Brian Duncan though, did you?
I managed to get to the 4th round this year, yes. Yeah, we had a great game last year in the quarter-final. Brian went on to do the double. That was a marvellous achievement. I'd certainly like to be out there again, obviously, yes.
Because we're starting very early this year, earlier than before at the last 32, so we're going to be seeing some names that we're not familiar with. Do you think there'll be any surprises?
Well, the Waterloo always tosses 1 or 2 up that knock some of the favourites out, but if you look down the list of champions over the last 25 years, I think there's only 2 or 3 unknowns that have gone through to win the Waterloo. The rest have all been fairly well-known players, and I've got to say I think that's what will happen again this year.
Yes, do you think, Mike, that this is the point at which the unknowns start to get a bit jittery and the class comes through, if you like?
Well, that's certainly one way of looking at it. You do get many young players getting through to the final day now, who are good young players who then go on to win it later. It's certainly a good testing ground for the nerves, because if they can play in these conditions with this sort of pressure, they can play.
Of course, young Bob Eaton carried the flag last year really well for the young players, didn't he?
He did indeed, yes, and it's nice to see him there again.
So do you think the pressure will be on him this year, do you think?
I think he'll probably feel the pressure more this year than he did last year. Last year he'd nothing to lose. Nobody expected him to win. This year people will be looking at him thinking, well, he likes the green, he could go one better, and it puts that bit more pressure on him.
It's really good for the sport in general, though, Noel, isn't it? There are so many youngsters in the game and coming through to the top these days.
That's true, yes. A number of times I go to places playing now and I'm the oldest one there. But yes, it's marvellous for the game. There's so many of them. In fact, I was at the junior county final yesterday between Derbyshire and Greater Manchester. Absolutely superb bowling from lads of 14, 15, 16.
These boys are taking time off school to beat you nowadays, are they?
Well, no. I wouldn't say that, but during the summer, obviously, school holidays, they're putting a lot of time in, for sure.
Right, now it's a rather complicated equation that we've got because we're starting with the last 32. Now, the first 16 played on Saturday, and this is how those matches turned out. MacDonald beat Clarkson, and then Cook beat Livesley, Gregory beat Caveney, Paul Rucroft, he beat Chamberlain, Constantine beat Shepherd, Gurney beat Holden, Vernon Lee, former Waterloo champion, he beat Britton, and Broadhurst beat Peyton. Those matches played, as I said, on Saturday. Now, your old sparring partner Vernon Lee, Mike, was amongst that lot. What do you make of that?
And some score, 2-21-6 against Mark Britton. Although he's not been playing quite as much this year, he's obviously finding form at just the right time.
Do you think the Waterloo influences Vernon because he's a local man, isn't he?
Well, yes, he loves playing under this sort of pressure here, loves to play in front of the big crowd and really enjoys himself, and he doesn't feel any nerves.
The other name that we might pick out of that lot, Noel, is Paul Rucroft. Now, Paul Rucroft's been around for a long time, hasn't he?
Certainly has, yes. He seems to play well on here. He doesn't play in many top-class competitions, but he comes up from the Liverpool area and plays well on this green. I'm not too surprised that he got through there, actually, even though against a good player like Mike Chamberlain.
And there's quite a lot of money for Alan Broadhurst as well.
Well, Alan's been in the final. In fact, he was beaten in the final by Brian Duncan in 1979, the first year that Brian won the tournament. And it was only 21-19, so Alan knows the green very well.
Right, well, let's have a look at the bottom half of that last 32, the 16 matches that will be on today, and these are those matches that we'll be seeing today. That's the draw. Cliff Johnson in the first match, he plays Tom Ashcroft. Stuart Brown then plays Freddie Hulme. John Banjo Bancroft plays Eric Atkinson. Derek Sanderson plays Richard Everett. Glyn Cookson, he plays against Martin Gilpin. Bob Hitchin plays Harold Horton. Chris Massey plays Bob Eaton, the chap who was the runner-up last year. And Ken Armitage plays Peter Swindle. The first 4 games we'll be seeing this morning, and the bottom 4 games this afternoon. So, gentlemen, Mike first, you might say, we've talked about Vernon Lee, we've talked about Broadhurst and Rucroft, but you might say that the class really is in the bottom half of that draw, today's matches.
Well, I think there are a lot of good games, and perhaps there are a lot of people in that bottom half who could actually go on to win the tournament.
Who do you fancy?
Well, John Bancroft is highly regarded, with a good chance, obviously playing well. Personally, I've seen a bit of Tommy Ashcroft playing this year, and he's a very, very top-class player, and I think he has a good chance.
Perhaps it's surprising, though, that we haven't mentioned Bob Hitchin, of course, a player with a marvellous pedigree, isn't he?
That's right. I think, though, with Robert's normal high standard, he's had a relatively quiet year this year, and who knows, he might just come with a bang at the right time.
Do you agree that the men who are going to be contesting this championship seriously are in that bottom half of the draw?
I would think so, yes. There's 1 or 2 in the top half, obviously, must be in with a bit of a squeak, but the bottom half is the harder part for any people playing.
If you were going to invest a few, Bob, who do you think it would be on?
I don't know, a sneaking feeling for Kenny Armitage.
Well, that's a name we haven't really talked about.
I know that, well, I left that to the last. Yeah, Kenny's plays this game green well. He always seems to go quite a long way in the Waterloo. And you never know.
Well, we'll see about that. But there's the scene on the green now, and the first players are ready, obviously, and the stands are filling up as well. Fine sunshine, although it's very breezy, and I rather suspect that this breeze is going to last for most of the day. The first 2 players we'll be seeing this morning, Cliff Johnson and Tom Ashcroft, ready for the first match. The commentator is Harry Rigby.
This is the 7th round match. It's the Waterloo Championship with Tom Ashcroft of Preston in green on the right. Cliff Johnson, his opponent, from Cannock in red. Both on 5 apiece start, 21 up. Terry Ashcroft, your referee. And now they're just waiting to start the first end. Shake hands. It's Ashcroft, the Preston man in green, who sets the tie in motion. A little bit of the old Blackpool breeze wafting around this morning, but generally speaking, conditions very, very good. It's both on 5 start, 21 up the game. That's a bit of a cold ball, that. Not warmed up at all yet. Just struggling to get a length. Johnson not making much mistake. Johnson again, the second ball, lies one on. Nice delivery. Looking for a double, making them count. Yes, great start there by Johnson. Some of the late comers there just going for the seats, all packed up, got all the equipment ready for the day. Real keen enthusiasts of this game. Johnson making a few signs there. He knows that he's on with his lead. Had an almost dead ball there. Ashcroft counting a double, 7 across. Johnson with a big yard, short ball to lick, but cocks up in the air. And Ashcroft down again. Still short, it's got to reach up, maybe far enough with this, but it's labouring. Just get in now, get up to the jack. Good ball. Lies 2. Johnson trying to retrieve the damage. Looks a useful ball this. Might even sneak in if it's could have died short. Michael, this lad Ashcroft is from your neck of the woods, Preston, isn't he? You know much about him?
Yes, I've just tipped him as having a very good chance in this tournament. But he had 2 good bowls there beaten, because it's a difficult mark. He obviously emulating Brian Duncan's style of play on that difficult thumb peg, and lay with 2 good bowls, but Johnson just beat them.
Good lead. Good lead from Johnson. Well, already struck a fair length, these 2 lads are just settling down now. A bit nervous the first few minutes, but getting things under control. Johnson again looking for confirmation, but he's still on. Cannock in Staffordshire. Some of the interested spectators no doubt placed the money, Mike, and hoping to draw at the end of it all.
Yes, there'll have been a lot of money changed hands with the bookies so far today. A lot of good bets struck.
Beautiful day, sun shining, breeze blowing, and most of these chaps will have already got the wife and kids perhaps making pies on the sand while they sneak up here and watch the bowls. The usual Blackpool format, but good ball. Ashcroft. Not a bad lead from Johnson, played one almost a dead length just to the left there, but a good reply from Ashcroft. Kicking away. Won't count. Just heard a 20-1 quote there on Ashcroft's chances, and 40-1 Johnson, who's 3 in front at the moment. Through the gap and gone.
Yes, a chance there for young Tom Ashcroft to counter double, but sent his second one a long way past.
Ashcroft leads out. Was Mike at home? Ashcroft, is the green a big green that he plays on, or would you say he was a long player? Or?
No, it's the greens he plays on generally aren't anything like as big as this. It's a very smooth delivery. Generally plays about 35 yards. I saw him practicing full corners today, though, and I thought he may well decide to play for the corners against Cliff Johnson.
He touched the ball. Ashcroft, no hesitation, just kicks the ball's end. Johnson picks up the jack, having counted a double. Now with a nice handy 4 chalk advantage. Made a good start, Johnson, so Ashcroft's going to have to buzz a little bit here to catch him.
Yes, Cliff started to play very well, because each time he's had chance to make 2, he's made 2. And in effective 16 up, counting a lot of 2s, you soon get to game.
You know, those are what you don't want to see, Mike, aren't they, the 2s? The real doom to defeat if they start knocking a few of them on the card.
Oh yes, 3 or 4 2s against you early on, and suddenly the game's nearly over, and you're playing all the game under pressure. I think this was a mistake on the part of Johnson to come for the corners, because I don't think it's really his natural game.
And that was the price of making that mistake. Tom Ashcroft, just the right time, counts a double. Making sure at this point that Cliff Johnson doesn't stretch into too long a lead.
Tom, obviously encouraged by the last end, has now decided to try for the corners himself. He's made a good lead too.
Johnson got one to beat here. Ashcroft led one up almost on top of the jack. Johnson way off the road and drifting out of it. A real no ball at this stage, and Ashcroft now, to string a few chalks together, can put the pressure back on Johnson. Great ball.
Brilliant.
Oh, really retrieved the situation. Ashcroft must have counted them, thought they were on the card, and Johnson dug out a real winner. Marvellous, isn't it, Mike? After he's just stood one on the jack and then picks the jack up and leads one from here to Preston short. You can't understand it, can you, at this game?
No, the glorious unpredictability of it. And Tommy, having played 2 marvellous woods and not counted, has now found himself unable to beat a wood 6 feet short.
Good second ball. Looks something like that. Ashcroft again, nice follow through, and it's not the style that counts, it's where they finish. It's got to run, give up. Applause. It's a little bit farther away than it looks on the screen, but from the crowd's response, could well be the winner.
It was a well played wood. Chance of 2 if he'd just touched the jack, as it is Ashcroft's in.
Be a bit disappointed there, Cross Johnson, to think that he's second and third with those 2 balls on the left. Ashcroft's coming up now. Oh, good ball. Gets a really good double there, Ashcroft. And he needed them. He was 4 shorts behind before, and now it's 12-14.
He's not managed to win 2 ends together yet, Thomas, but he's now trying somewhere else on the green, somewhere they've not been.
Yeah, just a change of territory, Mike, and he might just hit the right vein, because he's made a very good lead. Got it licked. That's bowling. Ashcroft would just be feeling a bit pleased with himself there, but Johnson in right away. Up to
Giving
the
it a
end and far
chance.
enough. Down the hill, swing in to the left now. It's far enough, it gets one, but it's lazy.
Yeah, that was well played by Cliff Johnson, beating a very good lead from Tom Ashcroft. Johnson leads 15-12.
Again, I'm surprised he's gone quite this far. He's been doing very nicely so far, and I think he's just gone probably 5 or 10 yards further than he should have done.
Good ball. Fairly long mark, there's about 50 odd yards. I don't think Johnson was too disappointed with his lead, although it was a big yard short. There's plenty of those count on here. But Ashcroft has planted one right at the side of the jack. Johnson got to do it again. Short.
Excellent bowl from Thomas there, no danger, played up, ran the jack. So they're both struggling to win consecutive ends, and every time Tom Ashcroft's made a good lead, Cliff Johnson's beaten it. So where's he going to go now?
Along the prompt, perhaps, Mike. You never know, because there's nobody strung a really good break together. So we've got 2.
Can't tell whether that's won it or not. Tom's asking for information. The rest declared Tom Ashcroft's bowl to be in.
It's been a match so far, Mike, where they've both tried to sort of get onto a bit of land where they could string a few chalks together, but it's never worked out. The other fellas always dug a ball out, hasn't it, when they've played good balls.
Yeah, they've each played better off each other's leads. But there's a change now, because Tom, for the first time, has actually won 2 ends together.
It's the game. Nicely balanced at 15 across.
Now here's Ashcroft making the break. Gets a chalk at the next end. He'll go in front for the first time in the game. They're getting a bit close to home now. It's 21 up, 15 across, and a good lead from Ashcroft. Just gone by. Ashcroft down again. Nicely roaded. Yes, 2 alike. Nice little shunt job there. Just push the other ball a few inches, but
This is an important bowl now. He either goes 17-15 down, or if he plays the right bowl, he goes 17-15 up, but he's missed him.
There's Cliff Johnson losing out on that one to Ashcroft there. Counts a double.
Another good lead.
short. No legs at all. It won't run. Bad ball that from Johnson. Ashcroft now is strung a nice little 5 break together here and stands 1 on. Oh, he's just rubbed the jack and went by. About 3.5, 4 foot past the jack. Bit of room here for Johnson, but whether he'll take advantage, we'll see. Oh, good ball. They've done this every time, Mike, haven't they? You know, he's just strung a nice 5 break there, Ashcroft, and this lad's dug another ball out to just stop his gallop.
I think that was an excellent bowl because his own first wood was in his way. It was a bad short bowl, and yet he's just managed to pick a perfect length out just to win. And I think Cliff now has decided quite rightly not to lead to the corners because it's cost him 2 chalks every time he's done it. But he's a long way short, I think, with this when it stops.
Stop. Gone round the back, it's gone out. Little deceptive to look at them, but green ball at the top is second, and there's the winner, Terry Ashcroft. Got to be careful with these Ashcrofts and Ashcrofts, Richard. You can drop your H in one, but you must use it in the other.
Yeah. The player's Ashcroft, the referee's Ashcroft, right?
won it, that, never mind, gone away. It's a dead length and won it.
Another important bowl there.
I think Cliff Johnston would be disappointed with that, Mike, wouldn't he? As you say, he kept out of the corners. He obviously thought he'd learned the lesson, but there was nothing in it for him.
No, he'd be disappointed with his second bowl there, because by breaking the length down, he certainly fooled Tom with Tom's first bowl, which went about 5 foot past. And if Cliff could have just put a really good second bowl on, then he'd have benefited, I think, from his change of tactics.
Right, Ashcroft now getting a bit near home. Played a good ball. This 26-year-old landscape gardener from Preston. Ashcroft on the way to victory. Or will Johnson do something about it? Oh, played it. Short ball.
Now another important bowl here. Cliff, I think, may well decide to play just a shade through at Ashcroft's bowl. And he's very close to it. He's hit the jack.
Oh, he's run it to the back ball, Mike. It spoiled it. Good ball, but it didn't count.
Now, if he'd missed the jack and hit the bowl, it would have been 2 to Johnson. As it is, it's 1 to Ashcroft.
Ashcroft now going for game here. Wants a double at this end, and he's through the 7th round into the 8th round.
He's missed the land completely, and he's standing in the middle of the green, very confused by that. And it showed Cliff where not to play, anyway.
Threw him a lifeline there, all right, Mike. He's played a really good ball now, Johnson, and Ashcroft certainly won't be getting up at this end. It would have been better if this would have been something like his lead, but it's gone well through.
Well, it's always looked the sort of game that would finish very close, and it may well do, but Johnson slipped up here. He's not got another. Or has he?
Johnson, 2.
Johnson taking his time, having a good look round the landscape before deciding where to go. Now turns a little bit to the right. Elected to play a mark into the bottom corner, 40-45 yards. A bit of a wayward ball there from Ashcroft. Johnson, this 37-year-old production engineer, Cannock in Staffordshire, lies 1.
He's given Ashcroft a bit of room.
Certainly both of them struggled to put 2 together, haven't they, Mike? At times, you know, they've looked, and Ashcroft turned away from that in disgust. Had a bit of a chance there, but blew it, and now...
Is it even second? I think he's having a long, hard look for 2.
Very important. If he's got two, it's 2019.
Johnson, 2.
Oh, then, Cliff Johnson. One-off victory. One time looked in danger of defeat as Ashcroft led 19-16, but Johnson's hit back with 2 doubles and now stands 20.
Well, he's gone further than I'd have gone. He's counted with some pretty average woods on the shorter marks, and now he's gone a bit further again. And he's going to be a long way short. He's slipped up with his tactics, I think, here.
Mr. City wins. Well, they've jockeyed about a little bit, those balls. Ashcroft's on the right, Johnson on the left. Johnson asking for information. Terry Ashcroft, the referee, is just looking at the end. He should signal.
Just like this.
Well, that's the good news for Johnson. At least he has the satisfaction of knowing he lies game. Should try and improve with this. It's not a good ball. So Ashcroft got to retrieve the situation, otherwise it's a sit-down job for Ashcroft. Certainly far enough. Have to be stopping if he misses. Can't go out, can it? It's won it. It's won the end. Oh, that was a real saver, Mike.
It was. That was a real pressure bowl, because his first was 6 foot short and the woods were balking him. That's why Johnson played narrow with his second, to avoid the possibility of running into those short woods. But it's always looked like being 20 across this game.
Needs a good lead now. 20 across this game. Both had the purple patches throughout this match. Each had a chance and missed it and then come back again.
Perfect length, almost exactly a yard wide. They always reckon, of course, that at 20 across, 7 out of 10 bowlers lose when they lead.
Can't lose this. Good ball. Ashcroft got that one to beat, otherwise he's out. It's on its way and it's doing the trip. Weighed in, it's gone through, and the winner is Cliff Johnson of Cannock from Staffordshire. Now goes into the 8th round, which is the last 16 of the Waterloo Championship.
On the green, please, Stuart Brown and Freddie Hulme.
There we are, Cliff Johnson in a very close game, 21-20 victor over Tom Ashcroft. What do you think about that, Noel?
Well, I thought Tommy Ashcroft was going to do it at 2 stages in the game. When it looked as though the game was going away from him, he got a 2, came back very well, and he actually led 19-16. And then I don't know, it happens on here, you know, you play a couple of ends where you think you'd never seen the green before. He played 2 atrocious ends, really.
Both players played quite a lot of doubles in a short game, didn't they, really?
That's right, yes, I think they've scored 5 twos each, which in a game which is virtually 16 up, that's quite a lot.
And
quite a high percentage.
And yet early in the game, both players also seem to be struggling to win consecutive ends.
Yeah, well, it's the first game of the day, big crowd, and it's the first game they've played where there's no other people on the green. The other rounds in the competition, there's been 4 or 5 other games going on at the same time, so everybody's attention, all the crowd's attention, hasn't been focused on one particular game, whereas as it is now.
It was a dogged performance by young Ashcroft, wasn't it? Because he was well in arrears at one stage of the game.
That's right. He looked as though he was going to come through. But You know, I just lost it. It's so easy to just play a bad end or two and you've gone. That's it. End of
Obviously
story.
the most disappointing thing for him at 20 across was the last end. We can have a look at that again because Cliff Johnson, it was a cool performance by Johnson, wasn't it?
It certainly was, yes. Well, Tommy led the jack across the green here towards the south side of the green. Played a good length, but just a shade narrow. I noticed he was playing tight of the jack quite a few times. Maybe his balls are just slightly stronger than the jack and he wasn't adjusting correctly.
And how often does this happen? The fellow who leads at 20 across doesn't win the end, eh?
Invariably that's the case, that's what they always say. Person who leads the jack at 20 each doesn't win.
Well, this is Johnson's wood on the way. And that must have really not
Brilliant
been stopping
reply,
Ashcroft.
yes, that's right, brilliant reply. At 20 all, to produce a ball like that takes some nerve.
Ashcroft's last chance here, second wood, 20 across, well by.
Well, he's played the right sort of ball, he had to be reaching. Cardinal sin not to be up to the jack when your opponent's in, especially when it's game on. And he's just stuck a little bit wide.
I think it likely that he tried to carry the jack, really.
Well, the jack or ball, they were both fairly close, within a few inches. Jack or ball would have done.
What would you make now of Cliff Johnson's chances in this tournament? I mean, he's got that one out of the way. He must have picked up a bit of confidence, really, mustn't he?
I would think so. He's obviously a steady player, got the nerves to go with it as well. But he's not one of my favourites to actually go carry the tournament.
It's a very breezy morning. I mean, it's not quite so windy inside the stadium here as it is outside. I mean, do you think this is affecting anybody at all?
Well, I've been during that game. I was down the green, and it is actually somewhat more windy than you would think, and it does have an effect even on the jack going across the green. You can see it waver off the line that you think it should take, and then you're left standing on the mat puzzling where on earth do I send my ball? And if the wind doesn't get up the same as when your ball's going across, then well, couldn't finish anywhere sometimes.
But despite the wind and despite the rain we've had, I mean, the green is in pretty good condition, isn't it? I mean,
it is actually, just holing a little bit. First thing in the morning at the Waterloo is always just holes a bit. Later on in the day, if the sun breaks through, it'll speed up.
So, details now of the first match that we've seen this morning. Cliff Johnson, the winner against Tom Ashcroft. A good start to the day, a good close game, 21-20. And the next game that we'll be seeing this morning, Stuart Brown. He plays Freddie Hulme. Freddie Hulme from Stockport plays for the Derbyshire County. What do you know about Freddie Hulme, Noel? You've seen him a while,
I just had a quick word with Fred. He said, I'm unbeaten for my county, he says. I said, so am I, but I'm not saying as much about it as you. Fred's, you know, well, you always know when Fred's round the bowling green, and he was stood on the side there. You wouldn't have thought he was going to have to play in a few minutes. Just his normal self.
Do you sense that Fred Hulme's confident then from that? I suppose you do.
Well, I don't know. I think you'll find Fred will keep himself very reserved for this game. It's you know, he doesn't. He's not often got this far, even though he's a good player, and he'll be trying like the devil.
They're both out on the green at the moment, just throwing a few practice ones back towards the referee. I mean, is this the right thing to do just before a game, just to get the feel of it?
Oh, you need to just get your arm going and loosen up. You know, everybody's nervous. I think I defy anyone to say they're not nervous before they go out here and play. So just to loosen up, like an athlete would limber up before a race.
And Stuart Brown, what about him?
I don't know. I don't actually know him. Actually, never seen him play. So I can't really comment on how good a player he is. I personally, I know Fred very well, and even though I shouldn't be biased, I've got to say I think he'll go through. Well,
we'll be able to add to your education about Stuart Brown very shortly, because as soon as the last practice has taken place, the bowlers will be going over towards the referee and towards the table at the top end of the green to begin this second match of the morning, the second match of the final 16 of the last 32, if that's not too complicated for you to digest at this time of the day. But that's where we are, the final 16 of the last 32, very early stages of course in these 3-day coverage of the Waterloo. The players tossing up who will lead the jack. The first formality is completed, the shake hands. So for the second match of this morning, Stuart Brown against Freddie Hulme. We'll go back now to the commentator Harry Rigby.
In blue, from Rochdale and Rochdale Bowling Club, Stuart Brown.
Match now between Freddie Hulme from Stockport and Stuart Brown from Rochdale. Hulme in yellow,
Stockport,
Brown
James North Bowling
in
Club,
blue.
Fred Hulme.
Brown, who sets the first mark, led a live and let live ball about a yard short. I must say that Brown is fairly unknown, but from what I can gather from the Rochdale area, a very, very promising player. He's taking on a real classy campaigner here in Fred Hulme. Good ball. Hulme weighing up the land as always. From round the houses. Certainly spread the end out to start with. That's just to let the crowd know that you know, they can still believe that they are the champions, and these on the green can chuck them about all over Blackpool. There's a bloke saying I can put them nearer than that when I'm asleep in bed. Still a bit of room to work in. Boom now. Screwing himself around a little bit. Freddie there wants the ball to come down the hill, trying to lick this. Far enough, doing the trip. Gone out. Still both fighting for a length. Brown now played a much improved second ball. It's Freddie Hulme on his way across, and Brown trying to get two out of it, but I think he's only a single. Well, as you know from the past, Noel, it's half the battle here to get a good start, and Brown's set off with a handy three break, taking your mate 5 in front.
He certainly has. And I think Fred's got quite a lot of support here, the Fred Hulme Appreciation Society down here.
Still spread him a fair distance on here so far, but Hulme not had a feel of the jack yet. And now Brown in again with another good ball. This young man from Rochdale. Good second ball from Hulme there as a saver, but it's 1 to Brown. think Fred's taking a bit of time to get wound up here, Noel. I saw him get through the earlier round against John Metters from Blackburn, and he played really well. But so far, not had a feel at the jack, and he'll have to be getting in before much longer, won't he? Otherwise, the match is going to go away from him.
If he loses the next two ends, it's going to make it a really tough job for him. He needs to get in here, or the next end at least. I notice the wind's getting up quite a bit, which does certainly have an effect, as we mentioned before. That one drifted well past the jack.
One a mile off and one round the jack. It's typical at the screen, Noel, isn't it, sometimes, because the wind plays tricks with the balls. It looks easy, doesn't it, out of the stands?
So it certainly does. People don't quite appreciate till they've been out in the middle there. Well, Fed's time here, maybe just not quite. Oh, that's Cardinal Sin there. He's short when the other fella's in. Should have been up to that, really. He needs to get wound up, as we know Fed can. All his supporters there, I'm sure they'll get him going in a minute.
Well, Brown must be feeling quite pleased with himself, because he's got away with one or two scraggy ends, hasn't he, without playing any really cracking stuff, and got a nice 5 lead without working hard for him.
That's right. Fed's just struggling for length at the moment. He needs to get hold of that jack and then get on his favourite parts of the green.
Well, Brown's making the trip, but Fred Hulme is having difficulty making the distance up to now. First wood there, a long way short. Better. Gone out.
Good effort from Fed there, just slightly unfortunate. Managed to save the 2 though.
Really struggling to get a length here, Hulme. He's played some short balls, put too much in, gone careering through, whereas Brown, he's just managed to keep at least one ball round about the jack, and he's chalked it each time. Built a nice handy lead up now of 11, Hulme yet to score.
The year I won the Waterloo, I won't remind you how many years ago it was, Harry. I was 11-5 down in the final and managed to come through and win. So still chances for Fed yet. Can't take it away from this young man though. He's certainly putting them near the jack on quite a long mark.
Well, it's quite an experience for him to come here, and he's not letting get over the top of him, is he? He's keeping himself well under control. If he plays a streaky ball, he comes up with one that's decent with the next ball.
Stuart Brown, a security guard by profession, and the way he's playing at the moment, he's certainly making his place in the next round secure.
He's played an absolutely superb ball. Fed, he's got to be up to these. Needs to either rest that nearest ball to the jack or take the jack through and hopefully make 2.
Rower. Rowan, if he does the jack, oh, unlucky ball. Hit the end and gone careering through, leaving Brown a double.
Starting to look a little bit ominous for Fred Hulme now, 13-5 down.
What's Fred's temperament like, Noel? I mean, will he be a bit rattled by this? Will he be thinking that he might as well pack up and go?
I know Fred very well, and he certainly doesn't give up. But it's only a very short game, virtually only 16 up, and before he winds himself up, he might be out of the competition.
Yes, if he doesn't get in shortly, Fred, you're likely to see a pair of balls go flying over that stand towards the tower somewhere. No, he's very quiet otherwise. But seriously speaking, the man is a very, very good player, and he's just not got in yet. He needs to get hold of the jack. The match might swing round dramatically if that happens.
Those two balls there, even though they're not very close, and won't be easy to pass.
Got to be stopping, gone out, could have left another double. There's Brown at the back. He must be thinking it's his birthday, because he's not had to play really well, has he? And he's a mile in front. Could be a bit deceptive, at least in the next round. He might find things a bit different.
Brown!
He's played some good balls, but the bad balls, unfortunately, Fred Hulme hasn't been able to beat. I think Fred's possibly just keeping himself a little bit too reserved.
Yeah, he must be thinking that they can't do anything right, surely, at this point of the game.
There's one
He'd
thing
run around
about
the green shouting at everybody like he normally does, Fred. He might have been level now. But then again, it's easy to talk, isn't it, from here? It's we've not had a feel at the jack yet. And this lad Brown now is in such a commanding position, he can afford to relax just that little bit and start to really enjoy being here.
You mustn't ever relax too much, though, Harry. There's plenty of times you've been lying game. The other fellow's only in single figures, and all of a sudden he's with you.
Well, yes, it's quite true. But I mean, he's a nice little buffer at the moment, hasn't he?
I'd certainly like to be in that position myself.
Yeah, the way Fred's playing now, he's sent one there, nearly gone to Preston. And the lad's lying about 3.5 foot behind the jack. He should put him a bit nearer than that.
Yeah, to say, Harry, your geography's somewhat out. Preston's the other way.
Oh, I like going to Fleetwood anyway.
Short.
Well, the crowd there were dying to cheer that ball. They were all poised to give it the big send in, and I think it's died about 6 inches short of counting.
It's not a particularly difficult mark that's being played at the moment. It's just a question of length.
And supporters or otherwise, you can sense that the crowd are actually willing Fred Hulme to do something now at this, well, quite desperate stage. 16-5 down he is.
And this Waterloo crowd are always a great lover of the underdog, even though they appreciate good bowling. Fred is very much the underdog now.
Now then, got a field to get in here. Brown led one now, nearly 3.5 yards short. exaggerated cheer there as that one just limped in. Still well short. Brown repaired the damage.
Well, still 3.5 to 4 feet there. Fred just needs another yard in that first ball of his. That's on the top side to me. It's having a nightmare. I know the feeling it's happened to me out there.
Just a nice cryptic comment from somebody there. Said, "Come on, Fred, we've got the cash on." I wonder what the back half of the sentence is. Brown. Because it's certainly never got a length. Fred, he's struggled all the time. Brown's just gone farther and farther in front and been even allowed to count some of his worst balls.
You know, you get this far in front, you can afford to relax a little bit, and you invariably end up playing better. The pressure's off a little bit, most certainly. Let's listen for the cheer if this goes in.
Terry Ashcroft on his way over, the referee. Listen to the cheer if he points to... Oh, it's against Hulme again. Not even had the benefit of a bang and rub there. No chances, million mile over and gone.
At this stage of a game, really Fred ought to just say, well, that's it, and just take the pressure off himself a bit. Maybe, hopefully, he might score 1 or 2, or even make a marvellous comeback. He just needs to take the pressure off himself. He certainly looks a bit uptight out there now.
Well, he's summed it up a little earlier there, Noel, by saying it's Fred's having an absolute nightmare. He'll be wanting to wake up and start his next game, and then he'll find out it's all happening. And it's unbelievable, this.
I think when Fred wakes up, it'll be after about 10 pints in the pub afterwards. I think Fred might be having a go at that cat in a minute.
Yeah. Very likely come looking for him.
That's right. Certainly not the best place for that cat to be right at this moment.
Big cheer now because Hulme's broke his duck. They can put the whitewash away. They was just mixing the bucket full. We might have just seen the first man to get clean plated on television in the Waterloo.
He's nearly knocked him in.
He's even tried to knock Brown in again.
Made 2 out of it.
Here's Hulme on his way over. Asking for the string. He's certainly got one. Looking for a double. relief to know here, Noel, that at least he won't be clean plated.
Yeah, that would be the absolute end for Fred, I'm sure, if that happened. He loves his bowls, Fred, and he's always so eager to do well.
We don't think the card will be in the newsagent's bowls for sale then next week.
Well, you never know. Just at this stage now, Fred's just got to steady himself down. He's not held the jack before, and it's very easy when you get in at this stage to send the jack out and then play one a mile off. Just needs to concentrate very hard.
Died short. This young Brown is well, Hulme getting all the encouragement from the lads on the cop. A very popular figure there. He's made such a disastrous start to this match, but now he's had a couple of ends with the jack. He might settle down and put a bit of a break together. He certainly needs one. Going a long way now into the opposite corner to the one that was played by Brown.
You notice how windy it's getting out there, Harry? See by the way the trousers are flapping.
Sent one 10 mile off. Looking for a good lead and then spreads it. One here not going to break the jack. It's well short. Looks near, but really it's somewhere in the region of about 2.5, 3 yards short of the jack. Now that he's on a better road this time. He misses his own ball. Got to miss it.
Well, very unfortunate there. I think he would have been right on the jack with that. Still a good ball there, though.
It's labouring this ball. I don't think it's going to get there. It's died. Pegs another one. Freddie Hulme. Makes you wonder what may have been, Noel, if he'd found the ball early doors, because, you know, Brown's played 1 or 2 wayward balls. He's doing a Freddie in reverse now, although he's got $1 million on the card. It just shows how things can change.
Well, there were a few times early on in the game where really Fred had a good 3 to 4 feet to score one. He must be kicking himself.
At least Freddie Hulme, Stockport, Cheshire, plays for the Victoria Bowling Club. He's not lost his guile and ability to use the green. He's now trying to just use the marks along the edges.
He could have made a mistake here, though. He's headed back into the corner where Stuart was playing exceptionally well earlier on. If he gets in here, he's back on his favourite mark again.
Short.
Run away, they're saying.
Knocked him a double. Hello, it's turning round a little. Big smile from Fred and a few more shouts from his supporters.
Looks more like a grimace to me, actually, Harry, that. Another couple of twos here, and he's back in the game.
Well, it had prospects of looking like one of the shortest ties on record a few ends ago, Noel, here, and now Hulme's, somebody's woke him up. He's having a kip there, Fred, and now he's played a decent ball.
Yeah, that's the best one he's played so far. Nearly licked it.
Marvellous, isn't it? They've spread him around in them corners, and now...
Well, actually, when you play one close, it gives your opponent a target. You can afford to be up to it, at least a yard, and invariably that's what happens. You get your good ones licked.
Good shot there of Hulme along the edge of the green, playing at the end.
What's he done?
Yes, he's run the jack through the end, a great ball. Made himself two, certainly brought the crowd back to life. At one time they had him laid out and ready for the off.
He's changed his peg here, Harry. Those short balls, obviously.
Going in the top side, he's certainly doing the trick. Certainly go out this and leave a double. Now then, we've got a bit of a revival.
If Fred can just get another two here, then Stuart's going to be feeling very nervous.
Fitted a few chalks along this edge. Had a bit of luck. Knocked him in for one at the end previous. Hulme picked the jack up at the last end. What a difference it makes to the scorecard. Now only 5 behind after trailing 18-5.
Quite a difficult mark that Fred Hulme's playing here. You have to be a perfect length. If you're slightly short, you peg right across towards the ditch. A little bit extra speed and you hang back.
He's knocked him again.
It's certainly going Fred's way now.
All the rubs. Glad of anything here, I think, Hulme, and he's getting a few knocks now. This can't be doing Brown's confidence any good. Looked to be absolutely flying home. And now pressure just beginning to get to him a little bit.
Fred's showed slight disappointment there, being short again, but Stuart's got everything to do to beat these two. Well, that could be a measure, Harry.
The crowd went a bit quiet there. I think if that ball would have run another couple of inches, you'd have got another big roar there.
Pegs!
Bringing out the string man. Not heard anybody tipping from that side, Noel, have you? And that's most unusual.
No.
There's so many good judges around there that are never wrong. And nobody's said a peep yet. There's Hulme.
Well, they're obviously not quite sure.
There's a few of the jury. One or two heads wagging a bit there but they've not committed themselves at all.
1 against the 2.
Yeah, 1 against 2. Vital measure this for both players. Hulme counts this end. He's back. Would you believe it's in a match that looked to be hopelessly beyond him? Certainly one. He may have a double here. Taking that out, Terry Ashcroft, very careful. I think it may well be a brace.
Only one.
Oh,
Hume! One!
got one out of the measure.
Absolute concentration required now. Dragged himself back from the dead, basically, hasn't he, Harry?
Yes, yes. Looked to be gone, Fred. Getting fired up a bit now, Hugh. He's after him, wagging and waving his arms. This is the old Freddie. He's got out of the coffin now. He started playing a bit. Oh dear, oh dear. Bit of a... Oh, it's gone by.
Well, I think Fred's arm wafted that one.
A little bit different now.
All right.
Lies a double. It's an amazing fight back here by Hume. Brown, the chip in there. Hulme wants it to Mr. Jack. Goes out. Watch him.
Absolutely unbelievable fight back. Looked dead and buried to me at one time.
Some of them had ordered the flowers. Here's Fred now, really enjoying this match that he was walking about some time ago, as though he was really gone. But now, oh, has he sent the jack off? Oh dear, plop, it's gone.
This is what can happen now. He's got himself back in the game and thought, I've got a chance, and then goes and does something like that. Just overconfident then, I would think. Didn't concentrate enough on where he was placing the jack.
Yeah, sent it about 2 inches too far. There's no doubt, I think this man Brown will send this a fairly long way. He's certainly glad to get off the hook there. Amazing run.
Fred's got to make sure he beaches up here. There's always a tendency to be short on this particular mark.
Not a mile away. Good live and let live ball, a yard short. Certainly far enough. Might be on the top side.
Just about crept in, I think, Harry.
We're not absolutely certain, but it looks favourite. Luke's the favourite. The one on the left of the two woods belonging to Stuart Brown of Rochdale. Oh, he's narrow. Narrow, it'll work away now.
Hold on, Harry, hang on.
Wood off it. Another good rub. May even have a double now. Oh, how this match has twirled completely round. All the rubs.
Certainly has. Stuart must be feeling he's been a bit unlucky there. That ball of Fred's would probably gone about two yards past his head. And this match has certainly livened the crowd up, hasn't it?
Wouldn't believe it, would you? Only one in the game now. Freddie Hulme staged a remarkable recovery. One or two little bits of rubs and knocks that have helped him on the way, but he needed all those. And now Brown coming under heavy pressure now.
Easily drift past the jack here. It's a fast running part of the green.
A bit quick on the top side there, Noel, isn't it? So it's a lot to do. Good ball. Might just stop the rot.
Willing that one in, but it's not go any further. He's changed his peg here to make sure he doesn't knock
hit the jack too hard. Got a double.
Good double that.
Just paid the price then, all Hulme, of going up that side. Never been up there before. First time he'd been along there. And he'd not had much chance before.
That's true.
And now Stuart Brown of Rochdale, who's had a mixed bag of a game here, went a million miles in front. Looked as though he was going to canter home, and now he's 2017 in front and leading for game, and led one way short.
Well, he scored the first 13 chalks in this game.
Yeah, they both matched it.
And
with
Fed
big
came back
breaks.
with the next 12.
Huh? Amazing. Fair ball. Gotta lick this, Brown. Otherwise, it's back along that edge.
I was chasing it up, Harry, but I don't think it's going to get there.
Oh, Hulme's the counting ball. Certainly takes him to 18 and a possibility of another one. He could be going for up.
Looking a bit dejected there. He knows he's slipped up. Well, the tipster's on the side as soon as that left Fred's ball Handis had run away.
Well, it's one and a
He's shunning into himself there. Not very happy about that one at all.
Oh, he's just giving himself a good telling off because he realises he should have tried hard to count another. Bit petulant there, he's slinging the mat down. As though he was fed up of carrying it about earlier in the game.
Well, early on in the game, it was probably burning a hole in his hand. It's what's known as rubberitis, I think.
I don't know.
Here's the measurement. There's Brown,
As
just
good a
wondering
chance as that, I think.
whether he's going to be two down here. Eric Garth
David, I think.
and Peter Lawrence are the two measurers.
Yes.
It's only one, or is it?
Yeah, first ball. Hulme, 1!
How important that other chalk. Oh, pegs a double there. Hulme, he's at 19 and going for game. Now, he's got to get in two ends. Have to peg this end certain. Can't afford to let Brown have any sort of a smell here because he only wants one. This young man from Rochdale in blue. And Freddie Hulme made a remarkable recovery. 18.
That's a good ball there, Harry.
it. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Hume got one ball to send, got to make it count. Stuart Brown at the back in blue, picks
Very
the other ball up.
Sorry, Harry, it's very difficult to play a good, what you call a good reaching ball here.
Let's see what happens. It's at the bottom, they've tipped it, no chance. Wade in, Brown's gone through. Brown the winner. 21-18 after a remarkable game of balls that saw Brown go into an 18-5 lead and then almost get pipped at the end. Stuart Brown 21, Fred Hulme 18.
Well, what an incredible game. Where do we really start? Freddie Hulme in that match was 18-5 down at one stage, and it looked as though he was going to take a whitewash. But eventually, when you saw what happened, he really made a match of it, Mike. That was a tremendous game, wasn't it?
Well, it was quite unlike the first game, of course, where the players couldn't win two ends together. This was a game of complete runs, with the betting going that Freddie might not score at all. And then, really, he must have virtually come favourite at 16-18.
Could you hazard a guess for me as to what was wrong with Freddie Hulme at the beginning of that game, because he looked completely out of sorts?
Well, it's an awful moment when you find that you're not scoring and you think, well, I'll get in sooner or later, and then suddenly the more chance you have, the worse you go, and it's a very depressing feeling. And even when he got in, he was a bit lucky when he got in, because he lay in with one wood and he could easily have knocked Stuart Brown in and gone 19-5 down instead of getting two for 7-18.
Because, yes, I think it has to be said that in the early stages of the game, it wasn't a good game. I mean, Stuart Brown wasn't playing particularly well, but he was roaring away into the lead.
No, that's right. Stuart started off playing well, but then as the game progressed, he didn't need to play well, because he could put them 5 foot off and Fred wouldn't beat them.
Well, from being 18-5 down, of course, Freddie managed to patch together a few chalks, as you might say. He got to 18-11, and then it seemed to be a turning point, didn't it?
I think, yes, it could easily have been. This was the bowl he was playing where he was down the front edge, and he led quite a good bowl. And he must have been quite happy with that. Stuart played an excellent bowl here, particularly since he hadn't had the jack for 4 or 5 ends at that stage. He played an excellent bowl and beat Fred's lead. Now Fred played the only bowl he could play here. He had to reach. If he hits right, his chance of making 2. If he misses, he's only likely to be 1 down, because Stuart would be bound to be cautious with his second. And he played a nice reaching bowl. Chance of either the wood or the jack. And you can see from the way he stands, he knows it's on it. And in fact, he runs the jack and he makes 2. This made it very difficult for Stuart, because there's 3 woods in the way for straight peg. And I think he thought long and hard about it and played round peg, and in fact it just hung back and left Fred in with 2 to keep him in the game at 13-18. So that could easily have been a turning point.
And yet later on in the game you were critical of Fred for playing that mark again when
Yes.
he was in with a chance of winning, really.
Yes, I thought he should have come back down the pub edge, because I don't think, even though he'd got in there, he'd had to get in by playing a wonderful wood. And Stuart obviously didn't have any trouble with that edge, playing it, whereas down the pub edge, early on when he'd come there, Stuart had some difficulty finding the land.
Do you think that, in a sense, though, Fred got back into the game more forcefully than he ought to have, because Stuart was beginning to get a little bit worried? Better be careful what he says, because Stuart's listening to you.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Stuart he wouldn't be bothered at 18-5 or 18-7, but when somebody gets to 10 and 11 and then makes 2 like that and comes to 13, then you start thinking that a game that you never could lose, you're going to lose. And so obviously it would put extra pressure on him.
That's good. We can have a look at the results so far this morning, and there they are, just 2 matches played. The first match, a really close one, Cliff Johnson, 21-20 against Tom Ashcroft. And then the remarkable game, truly remarkable game that we've just seen, Stuart Brown, 21-18 against Fred Hulme, but that really doesn't tell the story of the game, because Stuart in that match was 18-5 in front. In other words, Fred Hulme hadn't scored, and it went to a point of the game where really Fred Hulme was thinking that I suppose he might have been able to win it. But talking about winners, Here's the man who did win it, Stuart. That was some match to be involved in, surely, wasn't it?
Nerve-wracking. Towards the end, you know. As Mike said, I got a great start. 18-5 up. I couldn't wish for anything better, you know. I've never been in front of the cameras or anything before, so it's all new to me. And it was fantastic to be winning it.
When you stretched into that long lead, I mean, did you think that you were playing particularly well, or did you think that you were fortunate to be there?
Well, I've been quite confident on that mark. I've played it in earlier rounds, so I was quite happy with it. And Fred seemed to be having trouble getting the line and that. So I was quite happy with that, yeah.
And what about when Fred started to come back at you, as he did forcefully?
Well, I was expecting him to score, obviously. I thought 21-5.
Oh, well, there were some people who weren't, you know. There were some people who tried to back him not to score.
Oh, he's got a lot of friends in the crowd and that. Yeah, I don't know what to say really. I'm just really glad it's over.
Did you think at a point though that you'd lost it? I mean, when Fred got up to 18, I mean, did you think that it had gone?
I didn't honestly think I was going to lose it, no. But because I felt I was having a few bits of bad running, I run into the back of him a couple of times. I thought I'd have had a chance.
It must have been a tremendous relief at the winning end. Now this is the winning end that you can see. I wonder if can you remember it, or was it all a blur? Is it a haze?
Yeah, he led about a foot at the back and a foot to the side, and I'd been getting on the line of it both previous times we've been down there. So I thought as long as I can have a chance of hitting his wood or just touching the block or something, and luckily I did. I just landed next to the block.
Mike was critical of Fred for playing that mark at that point in the game. I mean, did you think that, or were you surprised?
Well, it's an easy mark. I thought he'd have done something a bit more difficult, like he was doing a round peg up the edge earlier on, and I seemed to be having more trouble with that. So I was quite surprised, I suppose, when he went straight down the edge. Yeah. I was expecting him to have a strike there.
He played at it.
It's a big target for him. And as soon as it had left his hand, I could see it was going low.
Oh well, poor Fred, there he is, walks off.
He's very quiet.
He's not normally very quiet, is he?
I believe not, yeah.
Tell me about your own bowling career, your own appearance here. I mean, is this the furthest you've got? This is the biggest event?
Oh, by far, yeah. I'm normally second round, third round, something like that if I'm lucky. The more I played on the green, the more I've enjoyed it and got a feel of the green for the first time really. So I'm looking forward to my next round.
Do you feel comfortable out there? It's a big crowd, it's a big occasion.
Well, as I said, I was comfy at 18.5. I felt quite happy on the green, yeah.
Yeah.
I was quite happy with it.
Yes. What did you make of the way he handled it, Mike? Was it?
Well, I think considering what an awful feeling it is to have somebody catching you up, I think he did well, really, to keep his nerve at the end. Every credit, and you'll be better for the future rounds because of it happened. Because just to sail away, win 21-5 or 21-6 wouldn't really have stood you in good stead for tomorrow.
I was thinking it when I was 18.5 up, that was the only mark I bowled on, so I thought if I'm going to run out this, I'm going to have trouble next day.
Yeah. No, it'll stand you in good stead, the fact you've had such a find.
What it means, of course, is that you play Cliff Johnson in the next round. Do you know anything about Cliff?
Nothing at all, no.
So this is going to be another
that was a good game,
exploration of new territory for you.
Yeah.
Did you see the first game?
I watched it through, yeah, it was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.